Hello and welcome. This video is made for students just starting off with organic chemistry. Here we have the general formula for alkanes, the general formula for alkenes, the functional group for alkanes. They don't really have a designated functional group, but the carbons in alkanes are attached to other hydrogens or to other carbons, and they have no double bonds and no specific groups. Alkenes always have to have one point of a double bond or a single point of unsaturation. Alcohols, they have this general formula, and you can think of them as an alkane where you have pulled away one of the H's and replaced it with an OH. So instead of CnH2n plus 2, it's CnH2n plus 1, and that missing H goes into this OH group, and of course the O gets attached. So CnH2n plus 1 OH, and carboxylic acid CnH2n plus 1 COOH. So let's say you have an alkene with 2 carbon atoms. What does that mean? 2n, so it's C2, and then that same 2n is multiplied by 2, so it becomes C2H4. Like C here, for example, that is an alkene. What alkene is it? Well, we have this over here. If there are 2 carbon atoms, it becomes ethene. Now I would like you to pause here and to draw the structure then of propene and butene. For students working with me remotely, I would like you to share your answers on your private Google Hangout. Next, we look at alkanes. One of these structures here is an alkane. Which one is it? Do you have more than one alkane? If so, which is the other alkane? Again, students working with me, you share your answers on Hangouts before moving forward. So you might have realized that the answers are B and F. Alkanes, CnH2n plus 2. So here you have 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons. C is n equals 4. 2n would be equal 8 plus 2, that's 10. So this is C4H10. What's the name of this? Write the name of this on your Hangout for me also right now. Yes, you're correct if you said butane, because the prefix but means 4 carbons. C4H10. Now, what about F? What's the name of F? You might want to say, well, it's same C4H10, and it very much is the same C4H10, but this is an isomer. So if you learnt about isomers already, then you would know that B and F are structural isomers, which means they're both C4H10. They both have the same molecular formula, but they have a different structural formula. So that means that there's something that's different about the arrangement. And when you give a name for F, you won't be able to call it but. So instead of calling it butane, you'll have to search for the longest continuous straight chain, which is 1 carbon, 2 carbons, 3 carbons. That's not the only way to get the longest straight chain though. You can start from this side and go 1, 2, 3. Or you can start from this side and go 1, 2, and then up for 3. But no matter how you go, carbon atom number 2 will always have a CH3 attached to it. Pause here and make sure that you can see that. Carbon atom number 2, no matter how you count, whichever one you make number 1, number 2 is always going to have a CH3 on it. So the name for this structure then becomes, because the longest straight chain is 3 carbons, we go with the prefix prop, but we have to account for carbon 2 having a CH3, which is a 1 carbon group. So that's why we go with the prefix meth for that. And then the name of this structure becomes 2-methyl propane. If you understand that, and if you understand that the prefix but goes for 4 carbons in a straight chain, and then you can have additional CH3s, I would like you now to draw the structure for 2-methyl butane and write the molecular formula for 2-methyl butane. And then I want you to share that on your Hangout. Next, I want you to suggest the name of letter E here. You see it contains an OH. OH means it belongs to the alcohols. How many carbons? 3 carbons. What does that mean? Look here. So write for me the name of letter E, please. And using the same reasoning, I want you to suggest a name for letter D and share that with me. So if you said the name for letter E is propanol, that's correct. 3 carbons in a straight chain. And for letter D, ethanoic acid. The prefix eth because of 2 carbons, oic acid always. So for the last activity now, next I would like you to draw the structure for butanoic acid and share that with me. And the last question for the day, letter C is called ethene. It's an alkene. CnH2n is its general formula, and you can see that here. What's another alkene that we have here on the list? And what is its name? So if you said that the other alkene was A, that's correct. You can see it's got a double bond here. And its name, because it's got 3 carbons, is going to be propene. Prop is the prefix because of 3 carbons. Ene is the suffix or the second part of the name because of the functional group of alkenes.